Good morning, Britain. Joe Biden says he's on a mission to keep the peace as the US president visits Northern Ireland to mark 25 years of the Good Friday Agreement. Mr. Biden has also been a vocal supporter of the deal, which helped end 30 years of violent conflict in the region.
Well, this is very much a flying visit to Northern Ireland for Joe Biden. He won't be here for long. There are low expectations for this trip in which he mixes the politics of the present with his personal past.
We're getting reports this morning that hospitals could be forced to partially shut their A&E departments later this week as bosses struggle to get enough staff to cover the striking junior doctors, particularly, apparently, during the night shifts.
We speak to the widow of the man killed on a smart motorway after a coroner rules he wouldn't have died if there had been a hard shoulder. Sally Jacobs joins us live as she campaigns to have the emergency lanes reinstated across the country.
Hilary Swank has given birth to twins at the age of 48. She says that it's a total miracle, but is it a good idea? Some critics are saying that it's unfair on the mother and baby to have babies so late. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts. We're debating that a bit later.
I want to break free. I want to break free.
And Loose Women star Brenda Edwards explains why audiences singing along at the theatre is a big no-no. She returns to the West End with We Will Rock You.
A very unsettled day today with 2 wind warnings in place and gusts of up to 70 miles an hour. All that and more on Good Morning Britain.
Wednesday, 12th of April, 2023. Live from Television Centre in London, this is Good Morning Britain with Charlotte Hawkins and Richard Madeley.
Hello there. Very good morning to you. It has just gone 6 o'clock this morning. Do you know...
It is you, isn't it?
I know.
It is actually you.
It is actually me.
It's actually me.
I'm hearing we could have had a lie-in this morning because we could have had a replacement, couldn't we?
Artificial intelligence is taking over the planet. It's taking over our jobs. I don't know if you've seen this online earlier. This is an AI, artificial intelligence generated newsreader in Kuwait. She's speaking the local language there. Let's have a listen. But she's not real.
No.
She's a completely generated human being.
I think they feed in the news and she speaks it. She's Feda, the first presenter in Kuwait to work with artificial intelligence, she says. And she says, what news do you prefer? Let me have your opinion. So there's that strange universe where you could program in the news that you want to hear.
Charlotte, this is the future.
And a computer-generated newsreader would read it for you.
I don't know whether to be sort of excited by this or terrified.
Fear for our jobs.
I mean, I do an agony column for a newspaper, and I had a letter from somebody who'd said that they'd use artificial intelligence to generate a Valentine's message to his girlfriend, which was so good that she burst into tears and she said, "You're the first man who's ever understood me." And he didn't know whether to confess and said, well, actually, I just fed in a bit of information.
But it wasn't actually him.
It wasn't him. So I actually wrote a reply to him, and I use AI for the reply. I fed all his details and his letter in.
And how did that reply go?
Better than I could have put together.
No. Well, there you are, Richard.
You know, and look at that.
It comes to something, doesn't it?
It does.
I like to think they lack the human aspect of it, though. You know, the human where...
Dream on, Charlie, dream on.
You chuck in the odd mistake, people know that you're human after all. You know, what does she have? What does she have?
Yeah, that's a good point. If it was to be believable, you'd have to throw in the odd cock-up, wouldn't you? They'd have to make the odd sort of mispronunciation or get something wrong. Yeah. Anyway, we just thought we'd nod to our futures and yours. That's what it's going to be. Exactly. I mean, and it is, you know, you're going to get artificial intelligence presented programme. No question about it.
I know. Yep. And football managers, according to the Daily Star this morning. We'll talk more about that later.
Really?
Yes, apparently so. But our main news this morning is that the US President, Joe Biden, will be holding a meeting with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in Belfast this morning. It's all part of this historic 4-day trip to the island of Ireland.
Only one day, of course, in Northern Ireland for him, and then he's heading south over the border. Well, Mr Sunak greeted the President at the steps of Air Force One last night, ahead of engagements to mark the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement.
Our chief correspondent Richard Gaisford is in Belfast this morning, and Juliet Dunlop is in Dublin, where the President will travel to later on. First to Richard. Good morning to you, Richard. So the President's going to be giving a speech at Ulster University later today. Do we know what he's expected to say?